This is the best book on acting I've ever read in my life, and I've read every single one of them. This guy is my teacher. This is Darryl Hickman. He's now 88 years old, and I was with him for 3.5 years, and he taught me how to act. This is called The Unconscious Actor, Out of Control, in Full Command. Where have you heard that before? I stole everything from this guy. Those warm-ups, that exercises, nobody does these. This guy invented this process. Let me tell you a little bit about Darryl. First of all, on the back of the book, this is who endorses it. Jerry Seinfeld, actor, comedian, producer, writer, winner of Emmy, Golden Globe, and Peabody Awards. Leonard Maltin, film historian and author. If you haven't heard about him, you haven't studied film. Marsha Mason, 4-time Academy Award nominee, 2-time Golden Globe winner, former student. Burt Reynolds, actor, director, producer. Peter Barsconi, Emmy Award-winning producer, screenwriter, former student. Gary Donzig, triple Emmy Award-winning writer, executive producer, and the list goes on. I'm even in there. This guy did 60 movies by the time he was 12 years old. His contemporaries were Debbie Reynolds and Elizabeth Taylor, whom he used to play football with out in the Watt and Warners, and she used to tackle him. She was a tomboy until she hit puberty and became a goddess. Okay? His first movie was with Henry Fonda, Grapes of Wrath. He still does what I just did when you talk about that movie. This kid was a child actor. He worked with John Huston, John Wayne, Bob Fosse, Elia Kazan. He was in Strasberg's class in the director-writer program. Strasberg sat in on him when he produced his one-act play and directed it. He became the CBS Director of Daytime Programming under William Pauly and Grant, I can't remember his last, Grant Ticker. He's done everything. He did 400 performances of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, which was Bob Fosse's, one of his plays that he choreographed to replace Bobby Morse. He's done everything, okay? He's produced and written musicals. He tap dances still today at 88 better than most people will ever in their entire life. And this book took me right back into Debbie Reynolds' studio. It was like I was there again. I'd forgotten some of the things, but most of the things, as I told him, I said, you're more like a high-end surgeon with a scalpel and I use a hammer, but we both get there the same way. All of the exercises, the things you hear and you see, I owe to him, and I said, I stole everything from you, Hickman. He laughs about it because he wants the message out more than anything. If you look at it, look at what I've done. I couldn't help myself. I dog-eared all of these pages, and I'm trying to bring him here. He's not going to be with us forever. He's 88, okay? And I want to bring him in for a nominal fee. I want 100, 200 people, and I want non-union people to be exposed to him as well, which is a problem if I go through the union to do it. So I would be interested in hearing, if you are interested in hearing from him, and maybe tell your friends, come up with some ideas. I want to talk to all the agents and find out, you know, this man needs to be heard. He's a giant. He worked with everybody and anybody. King Cooker, or George Cooker, King Vidal. He was in the transit. He worked with Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. He was sitting in coffee shops with Uta Hagen talking about acting. This was before she wrote her first book. He knew Stella Adler. He knew Meisner. He knew all of them. He was in their classes. He was looking for a way. When the method first came up, he was the one that jumped in and was trying to figure out what the hell it was. And in this book is the most complete history of the acting process I've ever read. It's filled in all the frog DNA to make a complete dinosaur. He goes right from the caveman up through Greek, up through the Commedia dell'arte, all the way up through Stanislavski and then the method. For the first time, I understood why the whole fallout happened between Meisner and Stella Adler and Strasberg, because she went over to Moscow and was in Stanislavski's class and came back and said, Lee, you've screwed it up, you've perverted it. And then again, he says, but Strasberg was a strong teacher, and he was dogmatic in a lot of ways, but he created this group of actors that came out and took Hollywood by storm, and it was brilliant and visceral, but they were limited. They were all limited. And his teachings go back to Stanislavski. All acting in the 20th century goes back to Stanislavski. And you had to read, what I didn't understand is you had to read not only his first book, but his second and third book to put all three of the puzzles together. And the problem with Stanislavski is he was always moving, always evolving, always changing. So there was a lot of confusion about it. First book I understood this in. And then the other thing is the second or third part of the book, the whole third, basically takes the entire process and breaks it down. And it's brilliant. And it's not something you're going to find in your normal bookstore. You're probably going to have to go on Amazon and buy it. But we're going to talk a lot more about it, and we're going to talk a lot more about having Daryl come here. But I've rededicated myself to implementing more of the exercises that I experienced and how important it is. And the reason that this is important, I was talking to one of our auditors, Steve. Everybody say hello, Steve. And Tiffany, say hello. That acting is visceral and it's physical, and he knew that. He was the first teacher who really emphasized that. And we talk about this every week, that we are, as actors, this is our instrument. You don't get a saxophone or a keyboard or drums. This is it. Your voice, your body, your own emotional life. And he saw a presentation of Chekhov's. By the way, he worked with Michael Chekhov too. Chekhov's Three Sisters, and the group theater, the studio, Strasberg's people put it together. And he watched, and it was okay, but there was like something missing, and he didn't understand what it was. And then he went to see the Moscow group theater, came to New York, and they put on a presentation of the Three Sisters. And it's in Russian. So he's got a headset on with the translation, and he says in the middle of the first part of the first act, I took the headset off and never put it on again. I didn't need it. I understood every word. Why? Because their behavior was so clear. And he said that was the difference. He said it was spectacular. It was mind-blowing. I walked 21 blocks home, he said, and couldn't figure out what in the hell was going on. But he put it together. Because acting is about doing. The acting happens in the white spaces, not the text. We hang on to a piece of text like it's our life preserver, right? We go in that audition, what are the lines? What are the lines? Fuck the lines. What are you telling me? What story is your body telling me? Are you there? Are you present? Are you aware? I mean, this is what we do. And it takes a lifetime. I'm still learning. I learn every class from you guys. And if you're not learning, you're dead. You're losing ground. I hope all of you are tapped into our website, and especially our Instagram. Alberta is doing a fabulous job. And we put on there little bits and snippets of things that are designed to let you know you're not alone. You're doing something that's really great. Most people don't. You've chosen something that is spectacular. Commit to it. Little bon mots that help you, hopefully, along the way in your day, remember why you came in the first place. And they're important. And one of them is an Agnes de Mille quote that was basically taken right out of his book that basically says, keep going. Life is scary and unpredictable. Well, so is acting if you're doing it right. The unconscious actor takes this script, these little black words on white paper, and you take them and you put them through your voice, your body, your own emotional life, and come up with interesting human physical behavior that tells the truth of the story. That's what we do. And to the extent that you're free and you can do anything with your body and your voice and your emotions are available to you, then people are looking for you, okay? So we're going to talk more about him. We're going to try to bring more about him in here, but I also just want to let you know that, like Daryl, my focus is for you. I want you to succeed. I want you to become the very best actors you can be. As I also discussed with the auditors, why does it work 6 times but not the 7th or 8th? And then again on the 9th? Well, that's not good enough. The process you're learning in here is basically a process that teaches you how to rehearse. Why is it? teach me I don't want to learn how to rehearse, I want to learn how to act. Well, it's the same thing. How you rehearse tells you how you're going to react. If you don't have a plan, if you don't know what to do, if you don't have structure, if you don't know how to do what you need to do, you can't do anything. You can't build a house. I don't know where to cut. I don't know how to read a blueprint. Blueprint's a script. You don't know how to read a script. That's why you're on a reading program. There is so much to be learned from knowing how an author translates action into little black words on white paper and how to read them. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. All of these things are important, okay? This script, any script that you're doing, should be assimilated to the point where it's now such a part of you, you're not thinking about it anymore, you're just there for whatever happens. And it's the surprises, the things that happen unplanned. I call it the acting gods. Acting gods show up, half of you say, no, I got this. No, you don't. No. The things that happen in performances when somebody drops something or somebody screws up a line or somebody goes up and you go, shit just got real. And the audience goes, hey, I'm awake. What is it that makes us pay these exorbitant fucking amounts of money to go and sit in the dark and laugh and cry with other strangers? They're just images on a screen. They're not real, but we connect. I'm sitting in my apartment last night. I'm hooked on Glow. Anybody watch that series, Glow? You got to watch this series. I got to tell you, I would never in my life I was bored. So I clicked on one episode. I'm already into season 3. And I'm laughing, guffaw type laughing out loud at some of the crap that's going on because it's just, I'm embarrassed at some of the shit I'm laughing at, but it's hysterical, and then it gets raw and real. And these actors are so good, and some of them seem so bad, but then you see it's all, it's blowing my mind, but it's an example of if you're out there and you can bring it, somebody is looking for you right now. And let's all just be glad we're in this crazy business together, and let's get to work. Thanks for listening.